Hello and welcome to the video. I'm Yogi and here we are once again talking about Hitman Reborn, which I'm always happy to do. This video is going to be about the Cervello and we're going to go over who or what they are. And of course some anime spoilers here, though we don't know for sure exactly everything about them, so you should be fine, but in case you don't want to know anything, then just finish the anime first. So we'll start off with things that we do know about them, and then we'll go into theories and what I think they were gonna be, because Hitman Reborn ended early, but I think there was a plan to make something bigger with them. So the Cervello are a mysterious all-female organization that serves as judges in mafia battles, and it was stated by Byakuran that their specialty is to judge fairly and that they are never biased, even if they support one team over another. Supposedly the Cervello are loyal to only the Bangla, but in the future we find out they're working with the Melfior family, so not exactly sure what happened that caused them to do it, but they did. We know that their roles include keeping the rules in place, informing contestants of the rules, and serving someone with a higher position. And that last role is really interesting. The first two are talking about the whole acting as judges in tournaments, but then that last one is just kind of comes out of nowhere, so it's really interesting, and I think I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the theories. Right, they always appear in pairs and with matching outfits as well. The clothes tend to vary for each one, but resemble the current Japanese trend. They all have the same domino mask over their eyes, and they all have long pinkish lavender hair. All the women are all identical, with the same height and weight for all of them. I'm not sure how they know the weight, but maybe that was in the data book and just didn't find out. And it's also interesting how they all seem to have the same voice as well too, because when a new one showed up in the ring battles, she looked the same as the other one, she talked the same as the other one, and she sounded the same as well. Although it was during this arc where we find out when they were hiding the damage caused to the school with illusions, there was actually a bunch of guys or men there standing outside doing it. So you could say maybe they had more people in there other than men, but you could also say this was just the girls just disguised as guys, because it'd probably be pretty weird if you just stood outside and saw like 3 identical women just standing in front of a school, and this was also in broad daylight. So all the Cervello members that we've seen display the same calm and matter-of-fact personality, and Zonxus seems to think that they're cunning. But also, despite their usual passivity, they demonstrated fear or apprehension in the face of Reborn's temper during the ring battles, and they've also shown concern and care towards both Zonxus and Shoichi too, but we don't know how sincere these emotions were. So yeah, those are the things that we know for sure. Their abilities are largely unknown. We know from what we've seen that they're capable of superhuman feats, since they're able to jump down buildings pretty easily, multiple story buildings pretty easily. There's also the scene in the anime and the manga where the two Cervello that are refereeing the choice battle, they're shown in the anime using the Fiamma shoes or boots, the ones that let you fly using flames. They're shown using those with sun flames in there, but in the manga you actually don't see that. They're kind of just floating there on their own without any flames. So it's pretty interesting. Maybe, I don't know if Akira Mano just maybe forgot to put them in there, and then when the anime came on said can you guys put some flames on their boots so they're wearing the shoes. We don't really know. So some trivia that you find as well on the Hitman Reborn wiki site talks about how Cervello, the word means brain in Italian, and Kikon, I think it means organ. So Cervello Kikon literally means brain organ, and it's also a play on Cervello organization. Not exactly sure where the word Kikon comes from. Maybe they just say that in the anime. I'm not exactly sure. I might have to go back and listen to it, but and they also said it's a play on the Cervello organization. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the Cervello organization they're trying to play on is. I'm looking it up, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm finding here. There's something here about like a crunch-based company or something. dedicated to helping progressive enterprises dramatically improve data management and business analytics. Okay. So from looking at a website here, seem to be linked with data pretty much. The last instance of the Cervello that we've seen is on a extra drawing Akira Amano drew for the Rebo to Delive art book, and it was a picture of the Vongala quindecimo, which was the 15th one, and I think this actually also hints to like her wanting to do something bigger with the Cervello too, especially in the future. Maybe they have a role in the quindecimo's life. All right, now getting into some theories, because who doesn't like a really good theory, you know? So in the Hitman Reborn data book, for the Cervello, their birthday and blood type are both unknown. Now there are a few characters with no known blood type, so that's not that weird. But what is more suspicious to me is the unknown birthday, because the only characters who have no known birthday are the Vindus, which have been around since at least Primo's time, right? So they're just really old. They've been going on for who knows how long. But you could also say they're also a group of multiple people, so maybe they don't have. And the Golem Moscow, which is a robot. So while it was technically made on the date, it's not really a birth date, you know? And Leon also doesn't have one. You know, Reborn's chameleon. You know, Leon can shapeshift, which is definitely not normal for a chameleon. And as far as we could tell, that's like the only animal that's kind of like does that, you know? Leon's definitely not normal. Could be hinting to maybe something more about Leon. Ooh. But just going off of this, I'm guessing that either they were made or they're just very old, comparable to the Vindus, or both. But we don't really have any proof of them being around for a long time, so I don't think that's the case. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're not old, but I just don't think so. So I'm going more with they're robots. I mean, they all have the same height, weight, and voice. They all talk and act the same. So I think it's likely that they're being made. Maybe there was one original one years ago, or who knows how long ago, and it just started cloning herself, you know? Or it could be like Nurse Joy's from Pokemon, you know? When Nurse Joy's and Officer Jenny's, where like it's just a big family where all the kids are just identical and they're all sisters and they all just go to different places, but they all look the same, sound the same. I mean, there was that one scene in the anime too where Zonxus attacks one of them, injuring them, and then they brought in the substitute that again looks and sounds the exact same. Literally next day. That was just fast too. So like I said, I think clones, robots, something. But I think maybe the name could be something too, you know, because the whole Cervello meaning brain, and again, not exactly sure, but the organ part of it I'm referring to, because I mean, I guess the brain is an organ, but like, why say brain, organ together? I don't know, but I think it might be referencing something, because, and this goes into the other thing too, it said their role is to serve someone in a higher position, but their name means brain. You know, when you're moving your body, it's all your brain doing is like telling, you know, sending signals saying, hey, do this, hey, do that, you know. So it's weird how the brain will be serving a higher thing, you know. So I think maybe they're just like, they're doing all this, but I think they're actually a mastermind, like a pulling the strings kind of thing, maybe in some way. Or, well, again, the websites all talk about, you know, connecting data, using data and all this. So I'm thinking if it's a play on that, right? If it is playing on that, it is possible. What if they are gathering data from these battles they're judging, right? All these things, all they're doing, they're gathering data. They're watching this happen, gathering it all together, making them think that, yeah, we're just judges for all that. But in actuality, they're like, maybe like the Domino Mask have like cameras and they're recording all of it and then they're taking it back. And there's something, and they're taking all this data and just keeping it for some reason. I don't know exactly sure, but it's something. And again, the picture with Quindecimo, maybe there was going to be a story, you know, like maybe they're biding their time, but then when Quindecimo happens, like maybe some big thing happens, Cervello's like, all right, it's time for you to know what we were really are doing, you know. And maybe, who knows, the one in the picture is like a Cervello member who's like, who doesn't want to be a part of it, you know? Because I kind of imagine it almost like the Borg from Star Trek, where it's just a bunch of like a big system, a hive mind, you know? But this one is just like, no, I don't want to do all that, and they leave and go with Quindecimo. Maybe, who knows? It would be awesome to do that. If somehow Akira Amano ever does like a new like a interview or something, I definitely have to ask them like, you know, ask her like, hey, were you gonna do something with the Cervello, you know? Because it'd be pretty cool. Shrug. But yeah, if Kira Amano ever gets like another interview or does another interview, that would be a question I really want to ask. That'd be awesome. Because I think that could definitely be something. And here's something like as I'm looking it up, someone else wants like to talk about it too, about the Cervello. This is on Reddit r/KHR. Yeah, they talk about the stuff, you know, we already know. They served under these people. The thing is, yeah, I didn't think about this till I read this. They possessed the Sky Mirror Ring and gave it the Byakuran. So like that's also interesting, like, cause why did they have it? The whole Trinity set with the 3 sets of 7 Vongla rings, which is, you know, in the possession of the Vongla family. The pacifiers, which is in the possession of Arcabaleno. But again, if you know the manga, you know how they got them. They didn't have them at first. They're not taking them and passing them on. Someone else is doing that. You obviously know. No spoiling though that, but you'll find out if you read the manga. But yeah, the mirror ring, they just had it. So that's interesting. Like, how did they have it? You know, it's like, were they given it? Did they make it? Like, how did they have it? And they gave it to Byakuran. They said no one else deserves it other than him. Even when he told them that, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna destroy the world. They just didn't care. Which again, maybe they're doing all this to just watch, gather all this data for something. Don't know what, but something. And it goes into some other questions here too. I'm probably gonna blur some of it out though, since it's, I mean, it's manga spoilers, but yeah. So like, if you've read the manga, I'll show it in, well, okay, yeah. Spoiler alerts for the manga. I'm gonna unblur the questions that have to do with the manga in 3, 2, 1. So here are the questions here, you know, the relation to this stuff. But yeah, and then how were they able to weasel into the mafia families, which is an interesting way of putting it. Because like, I feel like, I guess that's like, we don't know, again, we don't know when they started. They could have been very old, so they wouldn't have to weasel in. They would just be, they would have seemed like they were always a part of it, you know? Like the Vendors, they were just always there. Like, what happened? I don't know. They're just police officers from the mafia, you know? So they don't ever really question it. Also ask why they only show up at certain times. I think they only, you know, that's to judge the games. That's kind of their rules, so we know that. But again, collecting data. Ooh. But yeah, this was posted 6 years ago too. But yeah, I think the Cervello posts it's very interesting, you know, to think about, like, because we have no idea what's with them really. But yeah, that's the video. So yeah, leave in the comments down below. What do you think about the Cervello, you know? Were they cool? Did you think they were a little freaky? What do you think of the theories, you know? Like, you know, do you think they're just humans, robots, aliens? I don't know. What could they be? We don't know. So leave comments down below what you think about that. Who knows? Maybe if Hitman Reborn continues one day somehow, you know, or again, if we get another interview. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. Like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to. Okay, bye.
How come we don't have matching outfits? You sicken me.